Guys, this week has been a week. Yeah, looks like nothing's happening here in the month of September from Nintendo. No Nintendo Directs, no Switch 2 presentations, so yeah, it's pretty sad. I know, look, a man can be wrong, and I am going to be a man and admit that I was wrong, and that I just, clearly thought September was the month, and I was wrong, and I will pay up, because it looks like next week is just out of the question. There's just too much stuff packed into next week. With the PlayStation State of Play, Echoes of Wisdom, and, Tokyo Game Show, there's just way too much stuff going on. It's just not a prime week to reveal a brand new console, new hardware like that, not happening. So it looks like the month of September is completely out of the question, which stinks. Now, let me just straight up tell you, yes, I looks like I'm gonna have to be wearing that Tingle costume. I don't want to do this, but you know what? I'm a man of my word. If September absolutely has nothing, I'm wearing that costume, and it looks like I'm gonna be wearing that costume for Halloween this year. But that's for a later time. But look, at the end of the day, I never did say 100% that this was confirmed to be happening in September. I did state that I was predicting it. I said I believed myself that it was going to be in September. And it wasn't. We knew September and October were the months that were available and that the months that made the most sense. And it looks like Nintendo could be going back to the original plans that they did with Switch 1, where October is the month they reveal the console. And once again, it releases next year in March. But you know what? I'm done trying to put 100% confidence in anything. For now on, it's just a statement of, I don't know. It's going to happen when it happens. I'll just let you guys know what people are talking about on the internet and what's expected. But I've seen a lot of people say, what makes anyone think that it was happening in September in the first place? Well, I'll tell you why. Nintendo has done nothing in September. This is the first year out of every single year for the Switch Nintendo didn't have a single Nintendo Direct for. Not a mini, not a game specific, not a general, nothing. No Nintendo Directs in the month of September, which I know people are saying we still have 1 week left, but like I said, next week is for Echoes of Wisdom. They're not going to have a general Nintendo Direct right before Echoes of Wisdom drops, or Switch 2 presentation right before Echoes of Wisdom drops. So I think it's safe to say that there's nothing happening this month, which is so strange. And the fact that Nintendo bumped everything up for the end of August is also strange. Why? Why do this, Nintendo? Why bump all those presentations up at the end of August? Have absolutely nothing for the month of September and just, have nothing to reveal, like make us wait until October. What was the point of even doing that? You could have had the Indie World this month. You could have had the Partner Showcase this month, but instead you crammed everything into like the end of August, and it just doesn't make sense. And that's why I was so sure, with the leaks and rumors aside, I was positive that this month was the month, and it just seems like a bye month for Nintendo. Absolutely nothing happened in the month of September. There was no game releases. There was absolutely no announcements. It's just been dull. For a second, it really looked like things were going to kick off. I mean, this week was probably the most hype we've been about Switch 2 since the beginning of this year. Everything was adding up. It really looked like any day an announcement was going to be made. We were getting leaks of the console, images and renders and molds of the console, what it was going to look like. We were hearing that, production had started, and we were getting information about the specs and everything. It was all coming out like it was leading up to one final big announcement from Nintendo, and of course, nothing came. So it is confusing, and for that reason, I am very confused at Nintendo's methods and why they just decided to leave September to be absolutely a month of nothing. It's very strange. I don't understand their methods sometimes, but it looks like we're probably gonna have to wait until at least the first week of October, at the very earliest, to start speculating what Nintendo's gonna do next. And it's a circle. It's on and on and on. It's highs and lows of expecting this console, but man, if it doesn't come in October at this point, I think the hype is going to really start shutting down for a lot of people, and especially considering the fact that we're expecting this thing to come out at the beginning of next year. And it's also telling me that maybe there aren't any huge launch games, because I feel like if there is a huge Mario game or a huge Mario Kart or something along those lines, wouldn't they have to announce it pretty soon? I mean, you're literally getting to like a 6-month gap between like now and March. At this point, it's either the console's not coming that soon, it's coming in like the summer, which is going to be an extremely long, painful wait, or it's just they don't have a huge launch title day one, which is also a very painful thing, because you want to advertise a big game like this. They advertise Zelda games years in advance. I mean, having a 6-month gap until you reveal this next big 3D Mario game isn't going to give it enough time for marketing. You don't need that much time for a new 3D Mario, because people are going to buy it regardless. But yeah, that marketing gap is going to be short. But nevertheless, nothing happened this month, and you know what? Like I said, I was wrong, and I can admit that, and it's time for me to stop, really digging deep and, making predictions on to when this thing's going to come out. I'm officially done with my predictions. If you ask me when I think it's coming, I'm not giving you anything, because I don't know anymore. So, now, like I said, I'm not going to be making predictions of my own, but I will be talking about what people have been saying on the internet, and literally weeks ago, towards the beginning of September, this was all coming from Christopher Dring, which is a insider analyst person who's been saying that this month was the month, and clearly he was wrong as rain. Like, this not the month. But Bill actually came to Twitter, which is another analyst insider. He stated Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called revealed this month, ? Really? With a kind of weird face. And I remember seeing this thinking, oh no, I hope the other one's right. I hope Christopher is right. But it looks like Bill was right, because he also elaborated on this with a second tweet, where all the way back on September 6th, he stated upcoming release. Some industry insiders, with quotation marks, like he was throwing shade there, are hyping for a Switch successor announcement this month. But hey, here is something that Nintendo will really announce: a Nintendo Switch OLED bundle featuring Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And then, obviously, that happened literally like a couple of days ago. And I think immediately people started to feel that pit in their stomach and that chest where it just, yeah, it looks like Bill's right. And of course, he's right, because that's all we've gotten this month. This entire month was just completely scrapped for a Mario Wonder Switch bundle. Yeah. Yippee! It's just like, we knew the bundle was coming. There's always bundles coming for the holiday season. It's a great way for Nintendo to sell consoles. But man, oh man, this was not the announcement we were hoping for from Nintendo this month, and that seems to be the only one. So Bill was pretty correct. Now, apparently, where all these quote-unquote insiders were saying something was happening in September, clearly their information was just straight up wrong, because nothing happened this month. But remember, there was always like two sides fighting each other for the last couple of weeks. There's a side that believed that October was definitely the month, and a side that believed September was the month. And it looks like that side picking October was definitely correct. And this can be elaborated on even a little further here. Let's go a little deeper, because apparently a famous Chinese YouTuber actually made a video where they made a 3D printed version of all those leaked images of Nintendo Switch 2, where they actually said and claimed that they've had the files for Switch 2 for some time now. And she actually made a actual replica of what it could look like. It just looks like a bigger Switch with some additional features. And of course, I'll probably touch on this with a separate video and everything like that, where I really dive into all those separate features. But here is a quick overview as to what she's actually stating with the Switch 2. So it says, she 3D printed the Switch 2 based on the leaked chassis. She said she has the model file for a while, but it wasn't leaked, and now that it's out there, she made the video. So the 3D print should be accurate to the real thing. She'll convey important details of the Switch 2 in the video. She says the top USB-C connector is used to add external camera and enhance motion capture experience. She summarizes details of all the chips and CPU and stuff like that. And it has DLSS is being used for 4K output. She says that there will be a presentation next month. So, of course, I'm not taking any of this with certainty until Nintendo finally just announces the presentation. Like, please, Nintendo, just announce a thing. So, yes, it could happen next month. It could happen at the end of the year, some other time in November. It could happen next year. Who knows at this point? Nintendo's just holding on to this thing, waiting, I guess, for the ideal time to them. But in other news, it seems like Pyoro is back to leaking games, if you remember Pyoro. Yeah, he leaked 2, I believe, Sega games that were announced on like Japanese websites or something like that, but nothing super important for us to talk about. But yeah, apparently he's still in the leaking game, so we're just gonna have to keep an eye on him and see what happens with that. But with that said, yeah, it looks like we're just going to have to wait and see what Nintendo's going to do. This has been an exciting week, though, I will say. For Switch 2 fans, it looks like we do have a general consensus as to what this Switch 2 is going to be. It's going to be a bigger and better Switch. And if these leaks of the console and stuff are actually true with the pictures and stuff, and a lot of people are still claiming that these pictures are true and that these are at least early builds of the console, this might prompt Nintendo to hurry up and announce this thing, because if this is in production, there's going to be leaked pictures and leaked images all over the internet. I don't know how Nintendo's going to last until October, because if this stuff is happening now, the next 2 weeks is going to be absolute madness. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know, were you always on Team September? Have you always been on Team October? Or are you on Team another time? But like I said, yes, if nothing happens this month, which it seems like that's going to be the case, I will indeed wear the Tingle costume, unfortunately. But thank you guys so much for tuning in every single day to stay up to date on all this information. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out. And a lot of you guys watching this video right now are not yet subscribed. We have had a huge, massive influx of subscribers, so let's see how many we can get from this one video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.